What's going on out there, everyone? It's your boy, Mike Ryder, Mr. Accountability, the man behind the microphone. You are tuned in to another edition of Mike Ryder Talks. I got a special guest on the line with me tonight, but before I get into that, let me get into this. Mike Ryder Talks is live every Tuesday, every Thursday on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. If you're watching on either one of those platforms, give me some likes. On Facebook, give me some hearts. Give me some comments. Let me know that y'all are out there. Subscribe to it. Follow me. I will continue to do this. I'm about to start doing some very, very big things that you do not want to miss. All right. Before I get into my guest, I got one more thing I want to get into with you guys. I want to get into my sponsor. You know I done got with the cook shop. Before we get into that, I want to say this to you. If you're like me, you have problems sleeping at night. You probably done tried all the ZQuil, all the NyQuil, all the melatonin that your body can handle. I did it too. And after a few days, few weeks of doing it, my body starts getting used to it and it stopped working like it should. So now I'm looking crazy. I'm back to square one. I can't sleep anymore. Well, about a year or two ago, I met this young man named Andreas Cook. If you're from Macon, Georgia, you probably know him. This man has the cook shop. What they do, they have products that help you relax. Natural products that are 100% handmade. They don't have all the additives in their products. These things help you calm down, help you relax, help you sleep better, help your mind stop racing. Because one thing, my mind is always on go. I'm going to give y'all their business information real quick. You can find the cook shop at that phone number, at that address, at the website. You can place your order online. They have things like what you see on the screen. This right here. Let me make that a little bigger for y'all. These are the pre-rolls. These are not cigarettes right here. These are the hemp rets. Fire. You got the salve. He just put those back in stock. He just put those. That's a fresh picture. So if you want to go get you some of those, they're right there. You got the edible oil. I've tried that. Amazing. You got the tea, my personal favorite. They also have the coffee. I'm not much of a coffee guy, but if you are, this does the reverse effect of what Folgers might do to you. You know what I'm saying? They usually wake you up with the coffee, usually get you going. With their coffee, though, it calms you down. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. You get a relaxing feel. Your mind hits a state of calmness and you sleep better. I've been using their products, man. This is the best sleep I've gotten in a long time. Another good thing about them, you can go to their website. Before you check out, you can enter a promo code. If you enter the promo code Mike, you'll get 10% off your order. Hit the website right before checkout, promo code Mike, get 10% off your order. Another good thing about that, you can get it shipped to you nationally. You can do in-town delivery, but they also have a storefront over at Spark Macon where you can go and pick it up. So no matter what your situation is, you in the house, you working hard, you can get delivered to the house. You need to meet them while you're out and about, they can do in-town delivery. You need to come on over to the cook shop, you can. One more time, if you're doing it online right before the checkout, promo code Mike, get 10% off your order. That's on anything that you order on their site. Now, let me get into my guest. Let me shout out the chat one more time. Shout out Savage, I see you. Tasha Pettigrew, I see you. Aisha, I see you. Dre, I see you. I got somebody special on the line tonight. My man, he blogs. He blogs about food. He's the CEO of Spark Macon. You might have seen him around town. You might have seen some of the blogs. You might have been out and about when he was shooting some film for his show. And without further ado, my guest, Robert Grant, the CEO of Spark Macon. How you doing tonight, my man?
What's up? We have sound, right?
We got sound, we got video.
Awesome. It was kind of pins and needles for a moment there.
Hey, listen, ever since that happened last week, you know, but either way.
I didn't want to give you a repeat, so.
Nah. Jasmine Blake, how you doing? I want to shout you out. Let me get to this show. Um, Introduce yourself to the audience real quick.
Well, I'm Robert Grant. I was born and raised here in Macon. I left for about 12 years to go to school, and long story short, I found myself back here about 3, 4-ish years ago, and here I am. And there's a lot that happened in that span of time, which I guess that's what we're going to be getting into. So.
Okay. So as far as Spark Macon, you're the CEO. You
Yes.
are that guy that I met the other day.
Everyone has a different version of it, but officially, that guy you met today. And
Okay.
I did that. I did that because I'm really bad with names. Like, I'm terrible with names. And I figured if I was gonna do something where I'm marketing myself, I wanted to make it where people didn't need to remember my name because I probably wasn't going to remember theirs. So that was kind of how
Mm,
that came about, because the name of my brand is kind of the thought that naturally would cross your mind.
Okay, so since we're talking about that brand, let's go ahead and get into it. What is that guy you met today?
So that guy you met today has gone through a lot of different incarnations, but in the most recent and the most successful has been the food vlog that I've been doing for, I guess I might be creeping up on 5 years now. Where it was the kind of thing that it started out as a way to pass the time when I was unemployed.
Mm,
And that will get me to entrepreneurship and all that. But um, you know, I I'd say in a 6 year period, I found myself unemployed 8 times for one reason or another. And during the last two stints of unemployment, it kind of occurred to me, and I had been making video online since the early days of YouTube. So that wasn't a foreign concept to me, but I'd sort of thought that, it might just be interesting to show people what it's like to be in the job market and how much it sucked, quite frankly, and kind of just the struggles that I was going through with it. Well, ironically, immediately after I stopped doing that, I found a job. And it was the shortest vlog series ever. And then I kind of kept up with just putting content online. And the food thing with it kind of started because on my lunch break, I would just kind of vlog while I was at lunch, and I would talk about my food. And it sort of just evolved from there. But on the last regular W-2 job that I had, I was laid off, and as I walked out the door, this is how I shift into entrepreneurship. As I walked out the door with, it was literally the most stereotypical I've been laid off situation ever. I'm walking out to my car holding, the box of my stuff from my desk, going to my car that I had just bought and I suddenly couldn't
mm,
afford, going home to my wife that I think at that time, I don't think we had been married. Well, I think we might have been married like 2 years, but it was still relatively new. And I have to go back to my wife again and talk about how I've lost a job through just these crazy circumstances. And it was kind of at that moment that I said, I'm never punching anybody's clock ever again.
let's get
Um,
it.
the only caveat to that was I said that the only circumstance that I would take a job is somebody is going to come to me and it's going to be on my terms, period.
Mm,
If there's anything I don't like about it, I don't need it. And then, the next part was that it wasn't at that exact moment, but it was going through my head that I want to make something of this internet video thing. I didn't know what it was at that time, but it was just kind of this thing that I had been doing for so long that it was just time for me to capitalize on it or just kind of give it up. So that's kind of the Reader's Digest version of me being thrown into entrepreneurship and blogging.
Okay, so you're doing the vlogging thing. Your vlogs are available to view on YouTube, on Facebook.
Right.
Name the details of that, like the restaurants that you go to. How do you get in contact with these restaurants? Where
Mhm.
all have you been? Let's get into the nitty gritty.
Okay, so my YouTube channel is a very different and separate thing from Facebook. Facebook, I've always kind of kept it very local. It's all hyper local stuff, um, mainly because people locals watch Facebook. When it comes to YouTube, you have to be talking about a subject that has broad appeal. So I tend
Mhm.
to keep my travel content on YouTube where that broader audiences. So if
Mm.
you go on YouTube, the last two travel series that I did pre-COVID was one in the Philippines, where me and my wife we went to the Philippines. We were there for, gosh, I think it was like 4.5 weeks, something like that. And we ate our way through the entire situation. And then shortly after that, we actually went to New York City twice within about a month of each other, and
Mhm.
ate our way through. Or it was mostly me because my wife was there for work, but I just sort of ate my way through kind of the the things that you wouldn't necessarily like. I didn't go to New York and eat pizza. Okay, that's if you want to see pizza from vloggers on YouTube, there's enough of that. Okay, no, I don't think anyone cares. I can't really uh, one up anybody that's done pizza in New York. But I did things like in the picture you've got up there. I went to Jollibee, which is a sort of like Filipino KFC, McDonald's. Um, I did a comparison of Jollibee in the Philippines versus Jollibee in the United
I saw
States,
I saw
and
that.
I found it to be kind of shocking. I'm not going to say exactly what happened because if you want to know, you should go over to YouTube and check that video out. But um, it's I really like that I was able to sort of tie the the vlog together with that travel content from the other side of the world into something a little bit more accessible. And as time has gone on, the vlog pre-COVID had really started to take take a step in the direction that I sort of saw it going, where I was doing big travel things that were sponsored, which is always good, but that it was where I see myself. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? I see myself being able to travel around Asia and eat everything until I physically can't stand. Like
Dang.
that's that's sort
I
of
mean,
my
that's the
ideal
life. That's
situation.
the life
Right?
though.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And if not for COVID, um, there probably would have been two more trips to Asia. I was hoping to be able to scheme my way into press credentials in Korea, but that didn't pan out. The embassy was like, "Yeah, no, you're not doing that." And then,
Scheme your way into press. Come on, man.
yeah, 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 yeah. So this was early in the pandemic. They had this program where essentially you could travel into several Asian countries as press or as independent press. So those would be like vloggers and stuff like that. So it was the kind of thing that I qualified for it, but it was a lottery. So it was the kind of thing that I was in the pot with people that had millions of subscribers. It wasn't going to be me. But the caveat to that whole thing was that you had to stay in a state-sponsored hotel, basically locked in for 2 weeks before they would release you into the country, and you had
Oh,
to pay
because of
for all of
quarantine.
this, right? Because of quarantine. This was like May, June. So this was when, the world was burning at that point. So you basically had to go to this prison hotel, stay for 2 weeks, and then they would let you go into the country. And you had to do that at your own expense. I basically had to prove that I could pay for all this stuff and the whole deal. I filled out all the paperwork, but it just didn't work out.
Okay, I'm gonna go to the chat real quick. Anybody who's new to my show, as you can see, if you comment, you have questions or anything related to what's going on, I will put you on the screen. I'm very interactive with my audience. Aisha Andrea, shout out to her. She says Asia is beautiful and the food is good. They've truly held on to their culture, even in their food. And that says a lot to me because I see so many cultures that don't hold on. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
But here's the thing. I actually have to disagree just a little bit.
Okay, let's go.
Asian food is the kind of thing that it has so many variations because Asian cultures are very open to integrating other influences into their food. You'll see y- it's it's almost difficult to find authentic, pick a country, authentic blank food, in big commercial settings. Like you'll see a lot of vloggers that will go and they have to go out in the woods to find this authentic food because the influences, are
Everything is so
happen so often.
global.
Right. So, that's true in a sense. You can find the, very clear differences between different Asian countries, but
Okay.
finding that authentic thing is difficult even if you're in Asia. It's yeah, it just
Mhm.
and I'd say it's even more difficult because they are so open to those outside influences depending on the country. I'd say China probably has the tightest grip just because it's a pretty conservative society, but
Okay.
just about anywhere else, man, there fusion, that's where that word comes from. It's
Got you.
and that's why it's typically when you talk about fusion, there's an Asian food influence because that's just kind of the way it goes.
She said Asian food is diverse. Shout out to
It is.
Rhonda Pierce for that.
It is. Yeah.
Aisha came back. She said, well, culture wise, like in certain countries, eating all of your food is a sign of disrespect. Well, guess what? I'm going to be honest. I am very, very disrespectful. She
Oh,
said,
I
stuff
me
like
too. Yeah.
she said, stuff like that. When it comes to that, I guess you are correct, my man. So when you would go to places and it's sponsored, that means that you're traveling free. You don't have to pay for anything. The food that you get is free. You don't have to pay for anything, correct?
Well, there's a couple of different situations. So, okay, so for example, something that's upcoming, that's a travel situation with a very, very large company that has been such a huge supporter since well before they had any reason to be. They're paying for me, they're paying for my trip. Okay. I have to get there. And at that point, they're covering everything within their umbrella. Okay. When we
Mhm.
look at something um, like a local restaurant, for example, if it's something where they choose to sponsor it, it tends to be that it's almost like me making a commercial for them, and they're paying by giving me the food. But typically, they'll comp the bill and then I pay, or I tip as if I was paying for it. So there's not necessarily no cost to me, but it's usually severely reduced. And I'd say that, still a lot of the time, I'm just footing the bill for whatever I'm doing. Um, in the past, with sponsors like Visit Macon that aren't necessarily sponsoring one situation, but they're just sponsoring the channel, it'll be kind of a combination of those different things. Or, Visit Macon would, like, let's say, in the case of the last contract I had with them, they were just paying me every month. And I would say, okay, every month I'm going to put out 3 videos and those videos will just be whatever. And I just have to be very mindful of how much I'm spending because my production costs were coming out of that one check that they were giving me. Or
Gotcha.
they would say, okay, we're going to pay you, and then you're going to bring us the receipts for the food that you bought.
Okay,
So,
so let me rewind it just a little
yeah,
bit. And I hate to cut you off, but I have
no,
to
you're
ask
fine.
because this is a form of what I do is a form of blogging. It's a form of media. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of people who blog. I'm big into battle rap. I know battle rap bloggers. And what how did you propel your blogging from down here
Mm-hmm.
to where you are now? Being a small time blogger, because we start out small town.
Right.
So how did you go from the bottom and work your way up?
So First, I don't know that I'm still totally off the bottom. I like to think that I've got still one toe kind of touching the floor, but um, I'd say the key, and when people ask me, how do I get into vlogging or blogging or content creation in general, I say that the key is you just got to do it. You got to just make the content. And you just got to make it as if a million people are watching. And that's kind of the way I've always approached it, is that it was never about, would I not do something because it's not sponsored or nobody is incentivizing me financially? No, I'm just going to do it because eventually, and where things changed for me was having this huge body of work, this whole content pool gave me something to take to a sponsor, and I can sell it because I can say, look at all this. When I looked at the Philippines, and we were there officially for different reasons, but when I looked at, why is this a good investment? It's because now I have an international travel vlog that I can show to an international advertiser or sponsor and say, okay, here's what it would look like if you sponsored me. And if I was just sitting around waiting for somebody to sponsor this content, it was never going to happen.
It'll never happen.
It'll never happen. So, since, let's say recently, I've kind of gotten back into that mode where I just have to start making the content. I've got to just put the stuff out there, because if I'm not, how am I going to ask advertisers or sponsors for money? How, they're going to say, well, what are you doing? They'll say, hey, Robert, well, you haven't made a video in a year. Why are you asking us for money? You need to be out here. You need to get your portfolio up. So hopefully that answers the question.
Okay. So next question.
Okay.
As far as you going international, or we can do national and international, name some of the places that blogging has taken you.
Okay. So, if we're excluding local, like I said, the stuff more recently, like New York and the Philippines, which I'd say at those points, those were the two places where I had it down. Like I had my my style and how it looked like I wanted it to look. The product was something that when I look at it, it's something that I feel proud or happy enough about to give to a sponsor as a representation of who is that guy you met today. Now, in the past, there have been a lot of other things, involving mainly the Caribbean, because, the supporters of the vlog have been cruise lines and hotels. So, I've done several Caribbean things. There was a thing in Florida where we did I think the video was called, "What does a $2,000 dinner look like?" And we did this thing, and it was a $2,000 dinner at not the Ritz-Carlton. It was one of those bougie hotels in their restaurant. And it was this crazy meal, and did a video about it. This wasn't a sponsored one directly, but I didn't pay $2,000 for that meal. But,
We'll just say that.
Let's put it that way. But, I'd say the Southeast has been where most of the content is. But when it comes to YouTube, I'm kind of looking at it like, if I didn't shoot that video within, outside of a 300-mile radius of Macon, it's not going on YouTube. If it's within that bubble, it's on Facebook. So, considering that there's just a lot more involved in the international travel part, or even the national travel, that's why there's a bit less of that. But I feel like that's where the high quality content comes in, because that's where I'm feeling the best about it, because this is where I'm trying to go. So, how far has it taken me away? The Philippines, that was almost a 48-hour trip that was not fun. The farthest in the United States was New York. There were some other things that were planned that just didn't pan out because of the pandemic. I wish I had some more exciting places, but as things start to open up, I have a lot of things that are already scheduled for 2021, as long as the pandemic pans out like we think. The pandemic pans out. That's funny.
Wordplay. Let me get this. Let me
Yeah.
get to this. Because I want to talk food. I'm greedy. You're greedy.
Okay.
My audience, mainly from the South, we're all
Mhm.
greedy. Ain't no shame in the game. What is this? Do you remember what that is?
Oh yeah, that was like a month ago. That was Satterfield's Barbecue was
Where
doing
are they located?
they are right off of the lower end of Riverside Drive, um, like right before you get to MLK. They're a few streets down, but they were doing this special with pork belly and grits, and it was prepared.
What?
It was prepared like shrimp and grits, but it was pork belly. And when I tell you it was the most delectable thing I've had in Macon, Georgia in a long time, man, they are not playing over there at Satterfields. I highly encourage anybody, if you're into barbecue, uh, Satterfields is killing the game right now in barbecue.
Okay, what about this?
Um, I
Oh,
think
you don't
that
remember you eat that much?
that's probably Fuzz Saigon on Riverside Drive. Yeah, that's got to be, and that should be lemongrass chicken. Um,
Correct.
that's that's a go-to place for me. Well, I call it Faux Saigon. The correct pronunciation is Pho Saigon, um, and it's probably my favorite overall place to eat in Macon, which is why I'm kind of surprised that I don't know exactly if that's it or not, but I'm pretty sure that's
Right.
what that is.
Now it's lemongrass chicken. I saw it. I got it
Okay.
off your thing. Now,
Okay.
what is this? This caught my eye.
Oh man, I don't remember. I do not
That
remember.
looks like some type of fish. I see
Well, yeah, I mean,
asparagus.
yeah, it's definitely salmon and asparagus, but I have no idea where that is.
We ain't got to worry about that. That
Yeah,
does look good though.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, and I think in that sauce, I'm sort of remembering the plate. I'm pretty sure that sauce has crab in it.
that
It's like
does look like a something you'll see like it's like a seafood type. You know what I'm
yeah, yeah,
saying?
yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's definitely like a
Um,
blackened salmon, with a little sauce on top. That might have been a cruise. I'm trying to
it
like
looked like
look
it
at
could
the
have been a
table. I don't know. I can't tell
We,
where,
we
but
don't listen. We don't have to stay on it long. Let's get on this. This caught my eye as well because look, I want to showcase this because I haven't eaten anything like this. I don't know if anyone in my audience has. This stuff looks amazing and exotic to me.
that is nothing but a beef short rib, and
Right
that's
there.
it. Yeah, that's a beef short rib, grilled. I believe that was either at the Kimchi Factory in downtown Macon or at Miss Choi's Kitchen in Warner Robins. That's both
That's
Korean
kimchi.
places.
That's kimchi.
No, 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 no. No, 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 definitely not. No, the Kimchi Factory is the name of a restaurant here in downtown Macon.
No, that's what I'm
I
saying. That's where it was. That's where it was.
Oh, is that okay? I got you. I got you. So yes, but that's a beef short rib. It's delicious. It's just grilled beef, and it is, mwah, it's so good. And it's called Galbi, Galbi, and it is outstanding. A little pricey though. It's a little bit of a treat yourself kind of food.
Okay. Okay. So look, Robert, I play games with my guests. You are no different, my man. Let me
You ain't special.
you ain't no different. Let me get that situated. I got a game for you. Matter of fact, let me make sure I get right. And I'm doing a mid-show game. This isn't the end of the interview, but the game that I have for you is called Rapid Fire, the Greedy Edition.
Okay.
And if anyone is familiar with Rapid Fire, I'm gonna throw some things out there. The first thing that comes to mind, that's what you need to do. That's
Okay.
what, like, if I say such a, hot wings, whatever comes to your mind, that's what we're gonna do.
All
So
right.
you are the first person to get this, the
Oh
timer.
no. Oh,
I'm gonna throw the timer on the screen.
When you told
Let
me
me make,
about this, you didn't tell me that there was a timer that was going to fill up my whole screen.
no, you are the first person to get the
Uh,
timer. We're going to put the ticker at the bottom. I'm going to ask you a question. As
okay.
soon as you answer, the timer will start. This is a 30-second timer, not 30 minutes. At the end of that, we're at the end of the game.
Okay. All right. Let's do it.
Rapid fire.
All
Best hot
right.
wings.
Frank cars,
Best pizza.
fatties all day.
Gotta love that fatties. Gotta love that fatties. Best city that you've eaten in.
Manila, Philippines.
Oh, you got me off
No,
guard with that one. hold on,
or
hold
no,
on,
no,
hold
I'm
on, hold on,
sorry.
hold
No,
on,
that's wrong.
hold on.
Ali Bang, Philippines. Ali Bang.
You
That's what it's called.
look, you caught me off guard. I let the time kind of go down a little bit. Hold on. You said Ali Bang?
Yeah. That's what it's called. Ali Bang.
Best alcohol.
Fireball.
Best brand of alcohol.
Um, I have no idea.
Time
Jose
up.
Cuervo. I
Let's
don't
get
know.
it. Let's get it. Let's get it.
I'm not a huge liquor drinker.
Now we're gonna it's just all fun and games. It ain't no prize at the end of the game. There's no winning, you know what I'm saying? Just messing around or whatever. Like I said, it's
Mhm.
my first time with the timer experiment. That went by a little too quick. So next time I'm gonna do like a minute timer. I do have some other things, but listen, while we were talking about food, I want to get
Mhm.
into this.
Okay.
That got me thinking about these sweets. I am doing a raffle with the cheesecakes. Entry
Ooh.
into the raffle is $5. Let me make that large on the screen. You are still here, but just main screening that. Entry into the raffle is $5. You can enter as many times as you like. You'll send a payment via Cash App to me, Mike Ryder. The last day to enter this raffle is the last day of the month. The winner will be announced on the first day of the month. That'll be April the 1st. This is not an April Fool's Day joke. My show just so happened to land on April the 1st. If you win this raffle, you get a chance to win something like that, which is a banana pudding cheesecake, the blueberry cheesecake with the lemon crust,
Wow.
sweet potato cheesecake, Oreo cheesecake, strawberry cheesecake. And what I did, Robert, I teamed up with this company called MJ's, not MJ's. See, you got me tripping. I teamed up with hey, MJ's was my last company. But listen, I teamed up with Chat's Cheesecake out of Fort Valley.
Hmm.
If you win the raffle, you get an 8-inch cheesecake of your choice. Any one of those cheesecakes I just shown, as well as plenty others that they have on the menu. Long as you win, you redeem that ticket, you get you a free cheesecake. Like I said, the entry is $5. You can enter as many times as you like. The only thing you have to do, cash up your file to Mike Ryder. It's $ MikeRyder. The winner will be randomly chosen, and you'll get your free cheesecake, my friend.
Man.
We're gonna move on
Th-
from that. You
Thank you for
oh, go ahead.
showing me all those cheesecakes when I am starving right now. I'm totally starving.
I can show them to you again.
No,
What you
no.
want to do? What you want to
I'm
do?
I'm gonna close this computer. Is what I'm gonna do.
So we're gonna move on from that. You are the CEO of Spark Macon, correct?
That's it.
What is Spark Macon?
So to put it as simply as possible, Spark Macon is it's sort of part business incubator, part startup space. And what does startup space mean? Well, let's just say, somebody comes to the door and they have a business idea. Let's say they're working a 9 to 5 and they just have this idea for a business. We basically will nurture that idea into whatever it's going to be, even if it's going to be nothing. My idea is, sort of what I like to do is help people succeed or fail as quickly as possible.
Okay.
Succeed so you can make a living doing whatever your idea is, or fail so you can get back to your life and keep your day job. We also have very, very affordable space, like office space for those who need it, as well as co-working. So we sort of have these three different tiers of our membership. The first one being co-working, and I'm glad you got the pictures of the new renovation. Um,
Gotcha.
so co-working is exactly what it sounds like. It's sort of, you just get to utilize the shared space, which thankfully the pandemic is starting to subside, because co-working in a pandemic, not the easiest thing in the world. And then
Nope.
we have this sort of middle tier where we call a semi-private office, where it's sort of like it's about a 10 by 10 cubicle. That is basically, it has three walls on it. And people can rent that. You can sort of just set up shop and leave your stuff in there. And then the third tier is a full private office, a regular office. But the beauty of ours is that, they range from, three 300-ish dollars to 500-ish dollars, but that's all in. There's no utilities to pay. The internet's included, the water, sewer, all that stuff. You're all in, and it's month to month. So if you try to rent an office space anywhere in town, if you can find one reasonably priced, you have all these other things, or you have triple net leases, or gross leases where you're having to pay part of property taxes and all this kind of extra stuff. We make it easy for folks that are just getting going to have their own office space, or just to have a place to work that takes them outside of their home where they can be more productive.
That's fire. That's fire. And how long have you been the CEO of Spark Macon?
So I think this is the second. I think I'm in the second year.
Okay.
It might be 2.5. The pandemic has really messed up my sense of time here. It could be 3 years, to be honest, but I think it's 2 and some change.
What do you see? Because I see you just got the renovations. It seems like a lot of people in the audience have known about the renovations. I saw the post about them. Did you bring about the concept of doing the renovations for Spark Macon?
Um, okay, so this is one of those things where I'm kind of scared to say it was my idea, but if I remember correctly, this was something that I was really pushing for, and I just said, "Look, guys, we're at this point where I was asked to come on to sort of steer Spark Macon in a different direction." And for the folks that had seen the old Spark Macon, that know it was a very, very different situation. Like very, very different situation. There was nothing polished or really professional looking about the space. It didn't look like a place where you would want to come and set up your business. It was just kind of a mess. There was one of the things that that was so important to me when we were, saying, what is this renovation going to look like? It was that I wanted everything that we brought into the space to match. I wanted it to all look like it came from, even though this all did come from the same place, but look like this all happened in one shopping trip. Because what we were doing in the past was everything that we had in the space was basically a hand-me-down or a donation. And that made the space look like the entire thing was a hand-me-down. It doesn't help that, the building is in an industrial park that, from the outside may look a little sketchy. It's an older building on the outside, and then you walk in and there's all this junk, quite frankly, that was sort of making do. And it was just time to put a polish on the space so that when people walk through the door, they're like, okay, I can see my business becoming something here. And, an important part of that was, things as simple as matching furniture. Like you can see in that photo right there, even the cubicle walls are all the same color. All the
Like
chairs.
that looks good to me. I've been in Spark Macon maybe 3 times, and I didn't know that it existed.
Right.
Shout out to Andreas Cook and the Cook Shop. I know that
Right.
they're down there.
Right. Yeah. He's one of our tenants.
And see, he brought me in. I was like, okay, by that time I had heard of it, He was like, "Look, I can show you around." I came in, he showed me his storefront in there.
Mhm.
I'd like it. Y'all have a nice setup. You know what I'm saying?
Thank
Future
you. Thank you.
entrepreneurs, anybody watching this, anybody listening to this, if you want to find a place with good startup space, Spark Making would be the place to go. It's already in
100.
an industrial area. It's in a business area. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Very
And
good.
when you become a member of Spark Macon, this is especially important for the folks that would come in for the lower tier like membership, like the co-working, that they're just getting going. Coming into the fold of Spark Macon, it helps just expose you to other people that are at the same place as you. But then we have other people that have already taken that next step, like Andreas, who has an office back in the back where we can have this collaboration and bringing people together that if you're just out in the world trying to do this on your own without a startup space like Spark Macon, good luck trying to make meaningful connections. So I think one of the things that we do really well at Spark Macon is just connect people together. And for the folks that are watching, one thing that's really important about Spark Macon is that while there is a cost associated with being a member of Spark Macon, at this point in time, I'm not turning anybody away that comes to the door. I'm the kind of person that if you can't afford it right now and you are willing to put in the work, we're going to make you where you can afford it. And as long as you're willing to put in the work, then I'm willing to put in the work to help you get to where you need to be.
I don't think you can beat that. I see now the reason why they reached out to you about becoming a part of the Spark Making team. You know what I'm saying? Thoughts
Why?
like that,
Tell me more.
Listen, my head is big enough, your head is big enough already. I'm not
Huge.
going to go any further. But just thinking like that, because a lot of people don't think like that. They think, okay, money rules. This is the bottom line. If I tell you 300, it means 300. And it's like, okay, it's startup space for a reason. It's for smaller businesses. It's for the
Right.
little guy. So 9 times out of 10, he may not be able to afford that.
Right. We know when you hit the door, you're broke. It's
Facts.
we already know. Hey, it's
So that
Chrissy. What's
Chrissy was going on. Chrissy was on last week. She also blogs with him about the food. She's that girl you met today. He's
Yep.
that guy. And honestly, that's how I found out about you. I think on her page, because me and her have been friends on Facebook for a while. And it was one of y'all's videos. Y'all were going into Mikados or something like that. Um,
Oh, we go.
yeah.
I don't remember. Yeah. Who
um,
knows at this point?
and and also y'all were making this, if you remember that.
Right. Yeah. The chicken wing crusted pizza,
Yeah.
which
And
was
that's how I
delicious.
learned about you. You said which is what now?
It was delicious.
I can imagine. I'm a hot wing
Yeah.
guy.
Oh
I'm a
yeah.
pizza guy.
Oh
Put
yeah.
two and two together.
Put them together. It's a thing of beauty. It was a thing of beauty.
Yes. Yes. So Spark Making, do we see any expansions in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. There's there are several different plans that we're looking to do, but nothing is far enough ahead for me to really talk about it. Like I'd hate to talk about it and then we don't go down that direction. But the direction of Spark Making is definitely to be a much bigger thing and a much more impactful thing in the community as a whole. I think the biggest part that I'm looking forward to getting to doing, once it's safe to gather in numbers, is to really get into doing regular expositions of local vendors and small businesses, because vendor fairs and things like that, they happen, but they're kind of few and far between. So we want to really give people an opportunity to come out and show off whatever they're selling, and make it affordable. And that's the key, is that, again, I know when you come to my door, I know where you're at. I know that, if we look at, oh, here's a great example. we're going to be getting 2 booths for our members at the Mulberry Arts Festival that comes at the
Okay.
end of Cherry Blossom.
Okay.
Okay, those 2 booths cost us $500.
Mm.
So you're talking, 250 a piece. If you're just getting going with, let's say, some arts and crafts thing that you're selling online, $250 is a lot of money for you.
Right. Right.
So it's the kind of thing that by being a member here, when these events come up, we get a booth, we bring you out and get you set up. Now the difference may be that, you're going to share that booth with one other member, but we're going
It's
to
still
put you out there
free
and give you
booth
the
space.
opportunity.
Yeah, it's still free booth space. You can't knock that.
Right.
And like you
So,
said,
go ahead.
it's your floor. You're the
Well,
guest.
it's just to open up those opportunities for folks, and sometimes it's about, like I said, succeed or fail. Sometimes it's about showing people that this is not the life for them. That we've had that. I've had where people have gone out to these things and I sort of never see them again. But guess what? They didn't destroy their lives going down a rabbit hole that wasn't for them, because we made it where it didn't have to be that way.
Gotcha. Well, entrepreneurs, future entrepreneurs, and see, this is what my show is all about. I'm trying to put people in you guys' face that you need to know, who can show you different opportunities, give you another way of thinking. Because, like I said, months ago, I didn't know what a spark making was. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure a lot of new entrepreneurs probably don't know what spark making is up until now, if they're watching this. And it's like, they're probably thinking that they have to do everything out of their house. They got to do the hustle and bustle at the flea markets or set up at other events. They can
nope,
set up at Spark Making, have a small storefront, and you could just come in, and shop with them right there without
exactly,
them having an actual building. You know what I'm
exactly.
saying?
And right now, we have a total of 5 private offices that were part of our phase 2 of our renovation. The cook shop is in one of them, and then we have another lady named Rhonda and Bellamy Designs. She does rhinestone
I know who
T-shirt
that is.
customization.
That's
Yeah,
one of
yeah.
my. That's a good friend of mine.
Oh yeah, Rhonda. Love having Rhonda here. So, we have these 2 folks that are, they're pretty well established. They have really great grounded businesses. And then across the hall from them, we have 3 smaller offices that are perfect for somebody that's not just started, but they've sort of taken that first step to where they need their own little space. And then what
Mhm.
happens is once we fill those 3 offices, we have an entire office complex of like 15 more offices sort of right down the hall that we'll start to put people in. And we have offices of different sizes. So our hope is to build an ecosystem of entrepreneurs that are in, that early stage, so that,
Mm.
within this ecosystem, everybody can find what and who they need.
Come on now. Come on now. Because then if you think about it, if you go to any office suite, like if you go out to, I forget the name of the building, but where Progressive is in Macon. My sister used to work out there. Yeah, I'm name dropping, whatever. She used to work out there. They had different businesses on each floor of that building.
Right.
Or one end of the building might be one business, the other end of the business building might be another business. It's just like that, but it's in like a smaller capacity for the startup. So anybody starting up, this would be a great opportunity for you.
Right.
Robert, how do they get in touch with you? How do they find Spark Making?
So Spark Macon, you're just the easiest way is just to go on Facebook to the Spark Macon Facebook page, send a message. I usually I'm the one that answers those messages. So if you send that message, you're going to get me. And then really the first step is let's set up a meeting. Let's see what you're doing. And the first step for me is to make sure that who I'm dealing with is ready to take this thing seriously, and that they have sort of an idea of what they're getting themselves into. And really, I'd say 50% of my job is to scare them away. And if I
Mm.
don't scare you away, then I give you homework. And usually this is how I weed people out is, we sort of just look at your business. I give you some homework to do. It's usually a fairly simple thing, but I make it intentionally so you have to do a little bit of legwork on your own. And then basically I set up another meeting and I see if you either show up or you at least attempted to do what I asked you to do.
Come on now. You can't beat that. That's enough of that. That has been the spark making portion of this.
There
Let's
it
get
is.
into a little bit of the personal, the hard stuff out the way. Robert Grant,
Okay.
Macon native, been back in Macon about 4 years now, correct?
Yeah.
What are your passions in life? Let's get to know Robin. What are you passionate about?
Um, so just like in business, in my life, I have ADD as well. So I'm kind of all over the place, to be honest. I am, part of my issue with employment was that I'm really hard to pin down. And my resume was a hot mess because it was all over the place because I was the kind of person I just kind of try something and see if it stuck. But I'd say, if there's any one thing that's kind of stuck with me my whole life, and it kind of even threw me into entrepreneurship, was technology related stuff, especially technology that has to do with um, remote operation or remote control. Um, that's kind of my thing. I built radio controlled helicopters and airplanes for years and years and years until I couldn't afford to do it anymore. And that's kind of why I got out of it. But if
Okay.
there's something that really gets me going, radio controlled stuff. Always been a fan of it ever since I was a little kid.
Come on now. Come on now. So, like the helicopters, the remote control cars, the drones,
All,
things like that.
all of it.
You're into it.
I'm here for it.
Let's go. Let's go. So you will be a computer guy, correct? I need a computer built or, redid or something like that. You might be able to do something.
I mean, yeah, I could. I avoid it like the plague these days, though, because
Right.
like I said before the show, I'm a huge Mac guy now. So I've conceded to not working on my own computers anymore.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I mean, I could.
Let's
And
go.
then,
Let's
as you
go.
can tell in the photo there, recently, Chrissy would say that my pandemic personality or my COVID personality is a biker. So I'm into motorcycles now, which I'd say are about as much of a money pit as the radio controlled airplanes and helicopters were.
Come on, man. Come on, man. Outside of the electronics, outside of the helicopters, remote control stuff, what are some other hobbies that you may have?
Oh man, and this is, and trust me, I'm not giving a canned answer. Honestly, helping people develop their businesses has really turned into my hobby.
Let's
I've
go.
I've I've had sort of the luck in life to have. So I had a robotics company. Like I said, when I moved back to Macon, I brought a robotics company with me that I invented a type of hardware navigation system for a drone. And I was able to take that company from, it was literally a drawing on a napkin, to a company that I ended up selling. That I'm really simplifying how that all went down, but I took it from the beginning to selling. And there's something that just excites me about helping people do that. And
Mm,
there's sort of a few people that I don't know, I kind of take them under my wing a little bit, so to speak, just because they have great ideas. And there's something that's just exciting about taking somebody else's idea that I can sort of, I can come to, and then I can go away and do other things and then sort of come back and see how it's going and see how they take sort of the advice that I've given them and go about it. Like I've got one person that I've been working with now for 3 years on a concept for a line of sort of these faith-based doll concept. It's kind of difficult to explain when you put it like, trying to do it quickly, but I've been working with her, from just the idea to now the prototype of this doll is done, just getting the packaging done so this thing can get pre-saled and get, in the hands of children. And then, I've got another one that I'm working with that are an esports league that are getting off the ground. We've been going back and forth for about a year, and that business is growing. It is becoming a thing. And, it's just really, that is my hobby. When I look at what do I do with that extra time, I usually spend it with those people, helping them with their businesses. And that's really separate from Spark Macon. They're kind of in the fold of Spark Macon, but it's really separate.
Yeah, because you can always help them get going and bring them into Spark
Right.
Making
Right.
if they choose to. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of goes hand in hand. Officially, 5 years from now, where do we see Robert Grant?
So, in a perfect world, I see Robert being able to at least part time travel and eat and have a
Right.
food show where I'm not the only person working on it. And I think that's the how do I gauge, that 5 year success for me when it comes to that? It's that I'm hosting, if I'm filming myself, and that's fine, but I get to take all this stuff and I get to hand this off to a team. And I think that's how I know that I've gotten this thing figured out, is when I can hand that off. So, in 5 years, I hope that I just have other people that when we talk about that guy you met today, that guy you met today isn't just this guy.
So I want to say this because you just sparked a light bulb in my head. I saw a video with you and Chrissy. Shout out to Chrissy. Y'all were at Juicy Crab, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw how you were doing all these angles. She said you were doing all the camera work with one camera, correct?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the second camera actually died. So yeah, it was one camera.
So if you're doing everything just you, one camera doing all these angles, you're catching
Yeah.
yourself eating, you're catching her eating, you're catching the waitresses and waiters bring
Mm-hmm.
out food, you're doing
Mm-hmm.
a walkthrough, and I had the footage, but I didn't upload it. But you're doing like a walkthrough through the restaurant. For you to go in and just eat at one restaurant, how much time does that take?
So, one of the things, if there's one thing with that guy you met today that I am really proud of, it's how I have gotten the shoot down to a science. I have got it figured out how to get it done quickly. When I show up somewhere, I usually do just a quick walkthrough, and I've figured out exactly how I'm going to go about it. And I think, just having done it so many times, that I'm able to get through it really quickly. And I'd say that, if it would take normally an hour to get in and out of a restaurant not filming it, I'd say maybe it takes an hour and 45 minutes if I'm filming. And it just comes down to I've just kind of just gotten it down.
Routine.
Now I never, and I tell people all the time that when people will come and do these things with me, that you're probably not going to get to eat hot food. Now that's the caveat, is that I rarely
Listen,
get.
listen. I told my friend the other day, I said, when he eats, I'm pretty sure this food is not hot. It's probably on the colder side.
Yeah, yeah. You'll notice that, in the shots of the food, you'll see steam coming off of it, but you'll almost never see it when I'm actually eating it. Like I've kind of. But the thing is, and this a vlogger friend of mine online, we kind of talk about how your taste buds change and get used to eating cold food, and you
Mm.
get used to sort of adjusting yourself to, what would this be like if this was hot?
Gotcha.
What would this texture be a little bit different if this was hot? But yeah, I mean, and my wife that, would, in the past anyway, would do a lot of things with me. She would be grumbling and complaining in the background because she never get to eat hot food either. Because I'm like, look, we got to record this so I can write this meal off.
Right, right. Well, look, Robert, if that's all that you have for today, that's all that I have. Audience, if you have any more questions, any statements you want to put in with it, Type it now or forever hold your peace. You, Robert, you've been a great, great guest. Any message you want to leave, like future entrepreneurs or current entrepreneurs or just anybody
Yeah.
who's
So I mean, what I want to say to people is that right here I go on my soapbox is that over the course of the pandemic, there are a lot of people that experienced that little thing where you realize maybe you don't have as much financial security as you thought you did, or you don't have as much job security as you thought you did. And there's a lot of folks too that have been thrown into entrepreneurship because their jobs fell apart. And that's something that I know all too well about, because quite frankly, that's why I'm sitting here in front of this sign, was because I had a hard time in that job market. And what I have to say to a lot of people, not just those folks that may be thrown into that, is that right now, especially when it comes to, we're about to have $1,400 stimulus checks coming out. People, you can start a business with that money. You can take that $1,400 that you weren't going to get anyway. This is free money. And you can double it, triple it, quadruple it, 1,000x, 10,000x. Every business that I've started with a couple $100. Actually, that's a lie. My printing business cost me a bit more, but other businesses that have made me income and still make me income were started with $300, $500. Folks, there is opportunity out there, especially when it comes to these stimulus checks. And I would just be ecstatic to have people to come through my door over here and say, what can I do to give myself real financial security with this thing that's being given to me? Instead of going to Walmart and cleaning out all the Apple products and TVs, let's try to do something to get yourself into a situation where this $1,400 is nothing to you. Like, I want people to look at this $1,400 and not think, okay, what can I buy myself with this? But how can I turn this $1,400 into a living that would last potentially a lifetime? So, Spark Macon, we can definitely help you to do that. We can set you on the right path. Like I said before, it's not about what you can afford. It's about how hard you're willing to work. And if you can come in here, I'm going to get you to the point where our basic membership, which is $100 a month. Yeah, I have to do the plug for Spark Macon. I'm not worried about you having that $100. I'm just worried about you being serious about making that next step in your life.
okay. So y'all heard it from the man himself. And also you're gonna hear it from Harper. Harper says, hey, Uncle Robert.
What's up, Ha? What's up, Ha?
Listen, Harper, thank you for tuning in. Chrissy, thank you for tuning in. Everyone in the audience, everyone in the chat, thank y'all for tuning in and growing with me. This has been an amazing show. Robert, thank you so much. I'm about to close this thing out. Oh yeah, anytime, man. And listen, I'm gonna tell you like I do anybody who's on this show. In 6 months, we need to spin the block, because in 6 months you have grown. I would have grown. We need to get, we need to catch up in 6 months. You know what I'm saying?
I absolutely go ahead and put it in the calendar.
Let's get it. And it don't have to be exactly 6 months, but somewhere down the line. And I'm about to close this thing out. This your boy Mike Ryder, Mr. Accountability, the man behind the microphone. I want to show y'all something real quick, or just tell y'all about something real quick. If y'all heard the music that's playing at the beginning of my show during the pre-show, like today I played Makita Nichelle. She's a neo soul singer. She's an independent artist. If you are an independent artist or know some, send them my way. I'm trying to play more music on my show to get more eyes on these people. This is what my show is about, connecting the people with the people that they need to know. You know what I'm saying? You see it at the ticker, mridertalks@gmail.com. And I'm going to add one more ticker like I do each and every week at the bottom of your screen. Until we meet again, be blessed.